Hi, thanks for joining us. Today we're going to be making this small climbing gorilla. So step one, you want to take out your axle piece and just push that out, being careful not to break any pieces. And sand off any tabs. You don't want the tabs to get in the way of the moving mechanisms. Now find a medium-sized disc. So here's the medium size. Sand off any tabs. And push your disc on until it reaches this little spigot in the middle. Push it on gently. You can put your fingers to the side of the slot with it horizontal and push down on the table to work it down gently. Careful not to break it, and push it down until it reaches this spigot. Next, take your large disc, the one without the extra slot. So this one has two slots, one large one in the middle and a small slot. Find the large disc without the extra slot. Sand off any tabs. And push that piece on to the left of the first disc. Now find your disc with the extra slot, your large disc. Sand off any tabs. Push out these other holes. And then push this piece on just part of the way. But not all of the way. So now we're going to take our 1 meter length of string and feed that through this smaller slot. Pull it through until it's about halfway. We'll measure this more exactly later on, and then push this disc further up and onto that center spigot and up against the other disc, and that will pinch the string, making it a bit more fixed in place. Okay, now find your small disc. There's a couple of those. Sand off any tabs. And push that on. Until it reaches the other disc. Now take your medium-sized disc, sand off any tabs, and push this one on. Now find your remaining two small discs, sand off any tabs, Now these discs, we can apply glue. If you find that your mechanism is a bit loose, in this assembly it's actually nice and tight, but due to some variations in tolerances you might find that yours is loose, in which case you can secure it by gluing on these last two small discs. So let's demonstrate how to glue them on. Put some glue on the face. And also put glue in the slot. That's important because the slot is what's actually holding all of the assembly together. So glue inside that slot. And now you can push that disc on. Squeeze it all together. Make sure you haven't got any glue stuck inside this slot in your axle. If you do, just put your bamboo stick in and clean it out a bit. And do the same with the other disc. Glue on the face and glue in the slot. And push that disc on to the other side. Squeeze it all together. And check there's no glue in this slot. If there is, clean it out with your bamboo skewer. Now take your body pieces. Sand off any tabs. Find your head, your face piece. Poke out his eyes and his nostrils. Sand off any tabs on his face. And push the face onto the body such that the nicer side of the body is showing to the outside. Now take his bottom. You can tell it's the bottom because it's got this little bottom shape. Sand off any tabs. And now make sure that this hole, if you're looking at him from his feet, that this hole is to the right, so that this hole is to the gorilla's left. That's important because our string is going to be coming from this side of our spool and running down. So make sure this hole is on the same side as you can see here. Now take his other side and push that on. Now don't glue these yet, even if they're a little bit loose. Don't glue them because we're going to pull them off slightly later on when we put our strings in place. But you can glue them at the very end, but not yet. So there's our gorilla body. Now take your stick and measure 35 millimeters. Now there's a special way to cut this bamboo skewer. Place your scissors around that mark and apply a bit of pressure, but just rotate the skewer in between the blades. This prevents the skewer from splitting, so you get a nicer cut, a nicer end. And cut another 35mm stick. Sand the ends of your sticks to make them less likely to split. Now take this pulley assembly that we made before, and you'll see there's the large pulley and the small pulley. Now we want this string such that there's 40 centimeters of string coming out to be wound around the small pulley and 60 centimeters of string to be wound around the large pulley. So we're going to measure 40 centimeters of string on this small pulley and pull the string through until that's how much string we have. So measure on the string 40 centimeters. It's 30, 40, and pinch the string at that point and then pull your string through until you reach the center disc. So there we go, now we've got 40 centimeters on this side to be wound around the small pulley, 60 centimeters on the other side to be wound around the large pulley. Now we're going to wind that string around the large pulley and turn it towards you, so you have the large pulley towards you, and going anti-clockwise we're going to do 6 winds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and almost 6. And then with 6 winds on this larger spool, turn it over and make sure you've got at least about half a wind on the smaller spool. Don't wind it around too much, but as long as it's coming up from the bottom so that you can get a bit of turning torque on it when it's pulled. So about half a wind, and so they're coming up and out in opposite directions. Now flip it over so that they're both on the left side, that your largest spool is up towards you, and face your gorilla to the left, and put in your spool so that the string coming off the larger pulley is going to come in and through the hole in his tummy. And then the string coming off the smaller spool feed up through his right nostril. That's his right nostril. As shown. So the string is coming off the larger spool down through this hole, and then coming up from the bottom of the smaller spool and out his nostril. It's important that you've got a bit of string coming around on that smaller spool. If it's just attached right at the top, then you're not going to get any turning torque. Now take your sticks and push them on. You have to find the angle because they're not straight, they're on a bit of an angle. And find the other one and push that in. That's at the opposite angle. Now take each end of the string and give it a pull so that your mechanism starts climbing up that string and then drops back down under gravity. Now pull out enough string at the bottom to tie a loop that you can fit your finger in. that loop's big enough to fit in a finger. Pull that up until it reaches the top hole and jams. And now you can also tie another loop in his string coming out of his nostril. Now take his bicep, sand off any tabs, and take out his shoulder pieces. Be careful with these pieces as they're delicate. Sand off the tabs. And push that in right up on the edge of his shoulder. Do the same for his other bicep. Sand off any tabs. Find a shoulder piece. Sand off any tabs. Push that in as well. Find his arms. Sand off any tabs on the arms. So we'll just sit his arms to the side of his body and place the forearms so that the thumbs are pointing inwards and the nice looking side is upwards. So not this way, but this way with the thumbs inwards. And push those on so that his thumbs are upwards. And likewise with the other arm. Cut a 15 centimeter length of string. Tie a knot right at the end. Trim off any excess string. Do that again, so cut another 15 centimeter length of string and tie a knot in the end. Trim off any excess. Now take your other small shoulder pieces, sand off any tabs, and sand off the tabs on the other piece. I've got an assembled one here just to show you what the strings will be doing. So there's the knot on the string and it's coming up through the join on the shoulder piece and out the back and down in through the join in his hip, the top of it, and then out through to be on top of his bottom. So likewise the same thing on his left arm. Here's the knot and it's coming through that join up and out the back of his shoulder and to this hip join through and above his bottom. Now take his arm and take the string so that your knot is sitting in that slot and so that it's on the underside of his arm. Now you're going to secure the string in place by pushing in his shoulder piece. Make sure the string is running up in between these two shoulder pieces. And push that shoulder piece on so that it locks that string into place. You can loosen it a bit and pull that up so that the knot is right at the end. And your string will come running down. So we'll repeat that with the other arm. So we want our knot on the underside of the arm and push on the shoulder piece to secure the string. Pull that string out a bit to get the knot right at the edge and push on the shoulder. As the forearm's fallen off. We might need some glue to secure those. And that string's going to come down behind. So now, slide his arm so that his thumb is pointing upwards onto his little arm stick. And the string is going to pull in and get wedged in this hole here. And that's going to be holding his arm up. So now we're going to pry off the side of his body a bit so that we can get access to this hole. So just pinch your fingers, there we go, and it's come away. And now we need to put that string in and wedge it in place, but only when this pulley is in the right position. You want to rotate this spool so that the arm is directly upwards, so it's pointing in this up position. And now push your string through the hole and up just above his bottom. Pull it through. Adjust the string length so that his thumb is about 10 millimeters away from the edge of his face. And it's important that this is when that stick is in its angled up position. And then you can push the body on to secure it. Push the body all the way on. And now we'll do the same with the other arm. So pry off the body at his hip. Push on his arm. Put that string coming off behind his shoulder and in through the hole in his hip and up above his bottom. And pull that string through. And just lightly push on the side. Now put this arm back on, it's fallen off. Remember, thumb up. And you want to have this spool rotated so that the stick is upwards. So rotate it until the stick is in its up position. Adjust the string length so that his thumb is about 10 millimeters away from the edge of his face. And push on his body to secure it, so that secures the string in the right position. Now we can pull our strings back through so that your knot is right up under his tummy. Keep the tension on these strings so they don't tangle and come off the spool. Test the climbing mechanism. You might need to lengthen or shorten the strings behind his arms to get them moving symmetrically. Now to keep all the strings secure, you can pull the string up from his nose until the knot reaches the hole on his tummy. Pull the string up from his nose and then bring that string down and just tie it around his leg for now to keep the strings out of the way. Bit of knot on his foot. Now these strings coming out the back. We can tie those together. Trim any excess string. You can always put a bit of glue on any knots that you are worried might come apart. And now if any joints are loose, we can secure them with some glue. Give any glue 30 minutes to dry, and you can untie his foot. And hang him in your windowsill, and then when you pull the string, you've got your own little climbing monkey.